Hello, all you barbarian-loving cosmonauts. As always, I am Cosmic, and today we're going to be previewing Conan Exiles, which is the new open-world survival game by Funcom, set, of course, in Conan the Barbarian's universe. So the game places you in the role of an exile who is essentially crucified, left to die, sentenced to death in the exiled lands. You get set free and you are trapped in the exiled lands, so you must build a life for yourself. The narrative reason about why you are in the exiled lands and why you're trapped there thanks to an armband is very cliche. It's been done before. However, I have to say that Conan Exiles does have some narrative potential, more so than something that's like Ark, say. The reason for this is because they have already started to embed narrative and stories within the game world itself, so you can come across journals that are written by other people that are voice acted and they get played in and narrated while you play the game, which is a really nice feature. There is history to discover, there's knowledge to discover, secrets of ancient civilizations, and there is going to be a narrative story in the game. And I think that this is something that in the future Conan Exiles can really flesh out and exploit to the game's benefit, because no other open world survival game really does the whole narrative thing with any kind of good execution. And after all, this is a Conan game, so I want a good story in this, regardless of how you implement that story, whether it be optional, whether it be sections of linear gameplay going from point A to point B to do various quests, or whether it be more open-ended. I still want a decent, good narrative in here, because what is a good Conan game without a good story? But enough about the narrative, let's get on to the core mechanics themselves. Sadly, Conan Exiles doesn't do enough for me currently, especially in its current state, to really diversify itself from any other early access open world survival game. It is very derivative. There's no real innovation in there. I like where they're saying that they're going to be heading with the game in terms of siege warfare, in terms of giant colossal stone warriors that you can control, that kind of thing. And I think that there are some elements where they will begin to flesh out things and implement new fun mechanics. However, the core of the game, including the movement, the combat, the crafting, the building, there's nothing new in there. If you've played Ark, you've played Conan Exiles, and that's all there is to it. And sadly, it's something that, for me, was a little bit disappointing. It works well, don't get me wrong. It works well. The entire core mechanics set and all the crafting, all the harvesting, the leveling up experiences, it works well and is executed well. However, it just doesn't really do anything to really differentiate itself. As you progress in the game and you unlock more recipes for crafting and you're able to build bigger towns and cities, that's when the game really starts to set itself apart. So there's a thrall system in there that allows you to capture NPCs, and then you can put them on the Wheel of Pain, and then once they have been broken, you're able to employ them as NPC guards and that kind of thing, so they can protect your town. You can build walls and station them on the walls and things like that. And that whole thing is a lot of fun. It's different and it allows for some really interesting gameplay. However, and I say this however, this is still in early access. Okay, so not only is this game riddled with bugs, as is, but it's a complete technical mess. Yes, the core mechanics are good and what's there is going to be well received for the most part. However, you can't play the majority of the core mechanics with any reliability as it currently stands. The game is an absolute mess when it comes to bugs, so I spent the majority of my first day of the game, the first half of that day, I spent without being able to do anything because the server list would not show up. Then I got into a server that was an unofficial server because all the official servers had reduced capacity because they weren't working properly, and then by that time there was that many limited official servers that they were completely full for extended periods of time. So I went to an unofficial server, and then it was just a complete lag fest. There was rubber banding, my character was jumping all over the place. Some servers had higher graphical settings than others, and I think that was probably due to the host capability. Then you had an entire array of bugs within the game world itself that were not related to lag. So, for example, when you came across a group of enemies, human enemies that is, that they wouldn't run or have any kind of walking animation. They would just kind of glide along the ground until they came near you enough for the animations to actually kick in. Monsters and humanoids that are NPC enemies have huge aggro ranges, so I'm talking I could kite an enemy for a bloody long distance before they would actually leave me alone. Enemies hit bloody hard and you will die hella fast, which drives me crazy, because don't get me wrong, I enjoy difficult survival, but there's a difference between difficult survival and having to hit a guy who is completely naked 17 times in the head before he dies, while he hits me 10 times while I've got armor on, and then I die first. And it's just so frustrating. And don't get me wrong, there's lots to like about Conan Exiles. I like the way the game looks, I like how the core mechanics play, I like the progression system, I like the features that they've got coming. However, it's an early access open world survival. They're a dime a dozen, and frankly, this is such a technical mess at the moment that you cannot enjoy the core mechanics because the game doesn't run well. And if the game doesn't run well, and the servers don't run well, and you have a multitude of basic technical problems that directly affect core gameplay, then it doesn't matter whether this is an early access game in alpha, currently under construction, whatever, it doesn't matter, because you're ultimately asking for $30 plus for this game, and it's basically unplayable for a lot of people. And so for me, while this game certainly does have plenty of potential, and I think that there's no reason why the developers really wouldn't get this nailed down, and it would be certainly worth taking a look at a couple of months down the line where it has more features, it's more stable, there's less technical problems, the servers are better, there's less lag, then take a look at it. But as this game currently stands, I will not and I cannot recommend people go and pick it up straight away. Just because it's an early access game does not mean that you can put something up that is $30 plus and have it be such a technical mess. Yes, don't have it be feature complete, that's one thing, but when your game is basically unplayable, that is frankly unacceptable. So like I say, I certainly recommend that people who are really interested in this wait maybe a couple of months for the developers to iron out the technical issues, for there to be a couple of content updates, and then we'll see where we go from there. However, if you are an absolute survival open world game addict and you must have it now, be aware that there are several technical issues in this game as it currently stands that will probably hamper any kind of enjoyable experience as is. And that is my preview for Conan Exiles. Thank you so much for watching and listening. Let me know what your thoughts are on the game in the comments section below. If you enjoyed the video, please like, leave a comment, and make sure to share the video on social media like Twitter or Reddit. And as always, I will see you next time.